Good evening. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Want to make a video today, Mike Motivation, where it's straight up motivation. No cookies, no cupcakes, just motivation. Just talk about things of how I grew up, how I got to the place to where I'm at now. Try to motivate you by giving insight to especially to my young brothers out there that are growing up in the inner city. Situations might not be ideal. Sometimes, things just not the way you wanted to at that time. But you have to find a way to stay motivated and not fall to what's going on around you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How to stay focused through tough times. One thing we can all relate on, anybody that live in the inner city, is we all go through tough times, whether it's financial, whether it's mental, losing family, experiencing death early, and not understanding or just not feeling motivated enough to just being able to move through it. And then sometimes it's tough to move through it. But I want to talk about some of the concepts I learned growing up as a young lad. I guess so I'm 41 now, but growing up when I was younger, this stuff it may not fit you, and if it don't fit, don't wear it. But I'm gonna just tell you something that helped me. I think everybody that went through tough times. It's kind of hard really talking about specific things because you don't want to. A situation where you touching somebody, you talk about specific times, but I'm saying generally. Most kids in the inner city go through a lot of tough times where there's not having enough to function, not having enough food, not having enough to live in a stable situation. You're always, going from different place to place, moving around. Single parent household, that single parent got to work two jobs to make ends meet, and it still may not be enough. All kind of ways times can be tough. I mean, it's a spectrum of how times can be tough. Violence. You live in the wrong area, violence all the time. Every time you look up, it's a shooting going on or outside fighting or people house getting ransacked and stuff like that. Cars getting broken into. If you just grew up seeing all of these things, how do you stay focused through tough times? So some of the concepts to think about is learning how to let go. Sometimes we're so familiar with something, you grow up with something, and you feel like I have to hold on to this. This is my identity. And I'm here to tell you that as you grow in life, you stay motivated, and if you stay focused, you have the chance, especially when you're younger. That's why it's so good to think and make good decisions when you're younger. So you can invest in educating yourself and changing the environment that you're in by educating yourself, elevating your value, and being able to let go and move to another environment, move to a different situation where things are more conducive for you to just have peace and you can just think. A lot of people think that everybody can do that, but that's just not the case. That's why we make the podcast called The Thinking Game, where you can kind of talk about thinking through situations and topics that regular people deal with, because we're not celebrities. So be sure to check that out on Thursdays around 6:30, something like that, depending on what time you get off work. But check that out. Learning how to move forward. One of the things in life, especially in the inner city, we have to learn how to move forward and not get stuck in one area. It's okay to pause if you need to pause and gather yourself. Sometimes, from an analogy standpoint, sometimes when you're in the wilderness, sometimes you got to stop, set up a tent, get your rest, kind of get your bearings together, then take up your tent and get to keep moving. You got to keep moving forward. That's life. It doesn't stop. Time doesn't stop. It keeps going. So we have to learn and adapt and learn how to keep moving forward. Now, with that being said, decisions and choices that we can make moving forward very difficult, depending on what decisions and choices that we make. Being from the inner city, having a lack of information, you already have hurdles that's in front of you. Making unadvised decisions, making poor decisions can add to those hurdles that's in front of you. Now, you can be restored, you can repent, you can turn from it, but guess what? You still, some choices and decisions you're still going to have to go through. Even when you're restored, you have to understand that I made a decision, it cost me, God restored me, but I still have to face and go through the choice or decision that I made. That's why you have to slow down and really think about what you're doing before you do it. Because some choices, like I say, you get restored, forgiveness will be given, but you still have to go through that journey that you put in front of you based on the choice or decision. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. That's something I had to learn myself. Made so many trials and tribulations that I put myself in, that I had to move forward, let go, and move forward. Third concept: mentally resolve internal thoughts and issues. If you don't resolve certain internal thoughts or issues, it'll just keep bouncing around in your head, being like a ping pong. Bing, 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 bing. Me growing up, seeing people that was older than me that got into things, not all of them, I'm gonna just say like there was a set, like a set. A lot of times it's something that they couldn't resolve, whether mentally, something that happened, something that they did. It was hard for them to let go and move forward, and it became a mental issue or thought. If I would have did this, if I could have did this, why didn't I do this? It just keep bouncing around, bouncing around, bouncing around. Sometimes talking to people that was on drugs, sometimes that's why they do drugs, is because they're trying to numb their mind and ease that ping pong ball that's bouncing around in their head, that thought. But you have to find out for you how to mentally resolve internal thoughts and issues. That's why it's good to get a spiritual education, a foundation to move off of when you become an adult. It's very important to help you do these things. Let go, move forward, mentally resolve internal thoughts and issues. You have to, in my opinion, you have to learn these three. Because in life, you can't control everything that happens. There are random things that happen that you have to be able to navigate through. Let go, move forward, and mentally resolve. And sometimes you may not be able to apologize to the person that you offended or did wrong to. You may not have that option, but you still have to be able to mentally resolve the issue or the thing that you did in your head in order to keep moving forward and in order to let go. So let me know what you think about these three concepts. I think these are, as an adult, these are the three most important concepts that you have to really start grasping and understanding, because you do things in life, and some of them you do good, some of them you do bad. Some of them it's a success, some of it's a failure. But you got to be able to let go and move forward of both of those in order to go to the next thing. Next topic is stay focused through tragedies. Tragedies happen to everybody. Nobody's exempt from it. It sucks. Whether it's a death in the family, sometimes It could be hurt yourself, injury, friend, murdered, killed, things in the neighborhood that happen, tragedies, drugs. It's a lot of things, man, when it comes to tragedies. But being able to stay focused and not get stuck in the tragedy is one of the hardest things to do, because some tragedies really can hit you in the gut and knock your wind out. You think about, like, say, death, of a family member just tragically dies, a heart attack or something like that. You just saw the person one day, and then the next day they're gone. They're not here anymore. Divorce, that's one of the tough things. That's a tragedy. That's when people say it feels like a death. You're trying to fight for your family, but a divorce happens, and you have to get through the divorce, and some of the questions may not get answered. How do you stay focused and still live your life and go through the tragedy of a divorce or a death? How do you still go back to work and be productive even though you're dealing with a death of a loved one, or a tragedy or divorce, or just something tragic that happened? You still have to be productive as a human, as an adult, as a man. You still have to do those things. You have to find a way up here, a mechanism or some kind of system that you use to help you get through tragedy. That's why I got to say it again. It's important to get a spiritual education. It's important to develop your relationship with God. And sometimes you got to lean on the strength of God to get through things. You can't do it on your own. I'm telling you from experience, you cannot do it on your own will and strength. Sometimes you have to lean on something that's more than your natural strength. And sometimes it's a spiritual matter. So with that being said, one thing I had to learn from is recover from mistakes. We all make them. We all have them. But you have to learn how to recover. Some people, trying to think how can I phrase this? Everybody's personality is different. Everybody's going to make different mistakes based on your personality, based on who you are as a person, the nature of you. A lion not going to make the same mistakes as a tiger. The zebra not going to make the same mistakes as a buffalo or a bison or something like that. Different animals, different natures. It's just how it is. But as humans, we have to learn how to recover from mistakes. You have to learn how to let go by saying, I made a mistake, admitting to yourself you made a mistake. Move forward by reflecting on, what can I do to avoid this from happening again? What can I do better? What can I improve on? And what can I make happen to avoid this again? Because sometimes we shoot ourselves in the foot. I've done it many a times. And a lot of times you don't have the elders, or you don't have that voice of reasoning to keep you from even going there in the first place. And that's why I make it the way I make it. Some people say, it could be too harsh or it could be too straightforward. But guess what? The other way is not working either. You could be soft and subtle. It's not working either. People still are going to do what they're going to do. So all I can do is present it to you, give it to you. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. I get it. But I'm just telling you from my experience, learning how to recover from mistakes. Because when you grow up in the inner city, most guys can tell you this. It's like you go through a phase as a man that you feel like you trying to do right, but you keep making mistakes. It's like, what in the world? And you just can't get it to click up here. You're trying to connect those dots. And I'm telling you that there were some dots that I could not connect until I connected with Christ. I'm just telling you the truth. There are some dots. Until you get that spiritual education, you won't be able to connect. You're going to try to do it on your own, and you're going to always feel like you get to a certain place and then you can't get past that. So learning how to recover from mistakes. They're going to happen. Don't let somebody hold a mistake over your head. People will do that. That's just human, I guess. People will do that. But you have to recover from your mistakes. And you have to admit to yourself that I made a mistake. I messed up. And I got to recover from this. So, learn to recover from your mistakes. And stay focused through tough times. Another one, the sacrifice it takes to overcome. A lot of times, this is the tough part about getting to the steps to overcome. You have to sacrifice. You may not have a lot of free time. Matter of fact, you got to tell yourself, I'm going to sacrifice my free time to learn something new. I may not be able to do what everybody else is doing. I may get talked about. People may not understand what I'm doing, but that's the sacrifice it takes, that you're willing to be different than everybody else is in order to overcome and get to a better situation based on your circumstances. And I'm here to tell you that it can be done. You may not be able to hang out like you used to. I'm telling you from experience, in order for me to go to school, for these last 4 years, I had to sacrifice a lot of free time, a lot of leisure time to do what I'm doing now and getting to the point where now I'm about to graduate, I think next week. About to walk across the stage, undergraduate next week. But it took sacrifice. A lot of people don't see your sacrifice. They just see your success. But you have to know that I'm going to sacrifice in order to make this happen. Sometimes you have to sacrifice those little sayings. You only live once. Man, that's life. I had to stop. That's life. You have to sacrifice those cop-outs and tell yourself, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going no matter what. I got to figure it out. I'm going to focus through the tough times. But the sacrifice is real. The last point, and I'm out because it's cold out here. I got to get back in the house. Staying on point regardless. Staying on point regardless. Figuring out how to stay on point regardless of the things happening around you. Sometimes it can get super chaotic. But how do you stay on point and handle that at the same time? This is what regular people go through. Staying on point, going to school, and then an issue happened that the HVAC start acting up in the house. The toilet want to leak now. You got to fix that. The car want to act up. You got to fix that. And you still got to go to classes. How do you stay on point? Car acting up. You got class the next day. Kid not feeling good. How do you stay on point? I have to thank my wife because we support each other. We don't make fusses about things that happen because they're going to happen. As much as you want to prevent things from happening, you fix everything, something else is going to pop up. But we have done a great job of supporting each other, and I have to thank Ashley for that and being able to allow me as the provider, as the man that has to go to school, and I had to take a pay cut in order to do that, and we're still able to do that and understand the journey that we're going down in order to elevate. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. Sometimes you have to take that bamboo shot to the shins in order to get the win. So with that being said, how to stay focused through the tough times. It's not easy, but it can be done. And it will make you a better person if you learn how to do it. Some things you cannot put your focus on. You have to realize that if you're trying to get to a certain place, some things you're not going to be able to do. And that's up to you to figure out. When you focus in on something, it's probably going to take your focus away from something else. Sometimes some people depend on you, or they want something that you do or rely on you for that you may not be able to fully do because you're trying to focus on other things to elevate. So they always relied on that, but they won't give you time to elevate. So now you got a choice to make. Do I focus on this? Do I focus on that? That's life. We probably going to talk about this on the podcast Thursday. So let me know in the comments and go over to CTM TV and watch that Thinking Game podcast. We do, like I said, we do it on Thursdays, but staying focused through tough times. Definitely something as a minority man from the inner city, we have to give each other game and insight about how to stay focused through tough times, because everybody tough times is different. But what can be a general theme is how to stay focused through tough times. If it was easy, everybody would do it, but it can be done if we put in the work, the mental work, to learn and build a system in our head how to stay focused through tough times. Yo, this is Mike. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think. Help me grow this channel as well, the Mike Flair channel on YouTube. You about to see more content coming up when I get finished with school this week or sometime next week. But I wanted to make this because I just got done with the LSAT training. But yeah, this is Mike Motivation. I'm signing out, and thanks for watching.